So, um, my name's Chester Tribbley. I am 20 years old and I'm currently studying film music at the Guildhall School of Music and Drama in London. I'm in my second year. So I'm currently based in London, but I grew up in Chelmsford in Essex. The piece that I wrote was commissioned to be in three sections, basically, to sort of give an arc to the piece and basically take the listener on a journey. So the first section was titled Dystopia. So it was really focusing on bringing the emotions of, what could the world look like, and what is the world looking like at the moment, with climate change. And so I wrote a piece that I wrote the section that was really unsettling, basically. Wanted it to be uncomfortable to listen to, and throughout it I have it kind of rising in volume and in pitch and semitones. It gradually rises up, sort of to represent, the rising tension of climate change and, rising sea levels, rising temperatures. So just this constant kind of build up to this really tense moment. And then for the second section, I was looking at the Extinction Rebellion kind of side of things, the protest, the civil unrest side of things. So for that section, I took inspiration from having attended climate protests in London myself, pre-COVID. Went to a few of those, and basically drew inspiration from what I felt from these events. The sense of anger and frustration from everyone there, but also the sense of hope and a sense of togetherness and uplifting. So to draw on both of those things, I chose one of the chants that I remember from these protests. One of the chants that went, "What do we want? Climate action. When do we want it? Now." So I took that and I took the rhythm of that and then used that throughout the piece, but mainly in the rebellion section, and really drew on that as a driving force for this section, to really show the unrest of people at these protests. And then that sort of section builds into the progress section, is what the next section is called, looking at more of a positive outlook, with the climate action that we're seeing at the moment, and looking at what positive things can we take from this, and so I basically wrote a more melodic, a slightly more positive section that hopefully will uplift the audience, the listener, and not end on a really depressing note, ending on more of a hopeful kind of, things might be all right if we do something about it. So that was kind of the final section. And then right at the end, everything really calms down, because before this we've got, quite an intense rebellion section and all this like melodic stuff in the progress section. So right at the end, I really bring things down and focus on a more minimal soundscapey, sort of bringing things back to nature, and looking at, if we do something, things can be all right, and sort of calming things down. So that's the kind of arc of the piece, over the 5 minutes in those three sections, and then the final kind of more peaceful ending to it, that should hopefully take the listener on that journey. And yeah, that's the essence of the piece. I only really started composing reasonably recently, in sixth form. So when I was about 16, is when I started to get into composition at school. I went to the Anglo-European school in Eig Ct. And it was during A-level music that I started to get more of an interest in composing, and specifically film music, because I used to be a huge Doctor Who nerd, and loved the music of Doctor Who and was so obsessed with the soundtrack and how, a single track can convey so many emotions about a specific character, and that I could listen to the music outside of the show and know exactly what was going on in the scene and what was happening. And I was just fascinated by this. And so that kind of got me into film music. And then it was A-level music that got me into writing music. And I thought, well, how about I try and write film music? So then that was kind of my journey. And then, applied to get into Guildhall, into their film music course. And yeah, here I am basically. And my passion for writing I mainly write orchestral music. So at Guildhall, we have the Guildhall Session Orchestra that I get to write for. And my orchestral kind of passion also came from Doctor Who. My parents took me to a Doctor Who, what was it called? Symphonic Spectacular, and it was a live orchestral performance of the Doctor Who music. And then I just was completely blown away by that sound. And from then was kind of like, I would absolutely love to be able to write this kind of music. And then, yeah, just kept going from there, really. And yeah, here I am in my second year, going into my third year at Guildhall, studying film music. I think music has a tremendous power over people on a local level and on a global level. I think it has in the past shown that it can mobilize, certain groups. And I think the climate emergency is no different. I think that music is an easy format to relate to. Everyone listens to music, no matter what genre it is. I don't know anyone that doesn't like a certain genre of music. It really has a broad, it's a broad format of reaching out to people, and it has a real personal connection to people as well. A certain piece of music can affect people in many different ways, but it affects people personally. And I think that when it comes to the climate emergency, I think that music can have a real, it's a tool that can be used to really affect people in a way that I'm not sure anything else can. And I think it can engage people. Basically, it can really engage people in the music and in the inspiration behind it. And I that would be my answer to that. Message would be to slow down and make more conscious decisions and choices about your everyday life, be it traveling, a journey taken, or shopping for clothes and food. Just really thinking about, what alternatives are there to this? Do I really need to do this? Just being more conscious about what you are doing in your daily life, and making those changes if possible to be more environmentally friendly. And I'd also like to add that I think it's important to not shy away from telling people about that as well. If you are making those decisions and you are trying to be more environmentally friendly and lowering your carbon footprint, to tell people about those changes you've made. It's important to spread the word and let people know about what you are doing yourself to help the cause. And I think that the best way to get more people to do that is for people to realize that it's not just for the hippies and whatnot. Is everyday people can make these changes, and I think it's important to talk about it.